There's a scene that plays out every night in millions of homes. You turn off the lights, get into bed, and feel two eyes locked onto you from the total darkness. You can't see a single thing. Your cat, on the other hand, is watching you with a clarity you can't even imagine. And here's the uncomfortable part. That cat sleeping in your bed, eating from your hand, purring when you pet it, probably doesn't know you're a human. That's not an exaggeration or a clickbait line. It's what animal behavior science suggests. To your cat, you're not a separate, superior, distinct species. You are, at best, a huge, strange cat who's terrible at hunting, but somehow always manages to open the fridge. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how your cat perceives you, what it sees when it looks at you, what it hears when you talk to it, what it smells when you get close, and why it sometimes acts like you're its mother, and other times like you're just another piece of furniture. You'll finally understand why it does certain things that have seemed like a total mystery until now. Before we continue, if you love animals and want to understand the ones who live with you a little better, subscribe to the channel. I post content like this every week, and I promise that after this video, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. Let's start with the basics. Your cat's eyes work completely differently from yours. First, color. A lot of people think cats see in black and white, and that's not true, but they don't see the full range of color that you do either. Their vision is fairly similar to someone who's colorblind. They distinguish blues and greens well, but reds, oranges, and pinks blur together into dull, grayish or yellowish tones. So that bright red toy you bought thinking it would drive them wild because of the color? To your cat, it's just a gray object that moves. What attracts them isn't the color, it's the motion. That brings us to the second big difference, sharpness. You can read a sign across the street without any trouble. Your cat, on the other hand, starts losing detail after just a couple of meters. Anything far away turns into a blurry smudge. That's why a cat can sit at the window, staring into space for minutes at a time. It's probably not looking at anything specific. It's tracking motion in a blurry zone that caught its interest. This completely changes how your cat perceives you when you're in the same room. It's not analyzing your face. It's not noticing whether you have a beard, glasses, or a new haircut. What it picks up on is your silhouette, and above all, how you move. Here's a fact most people don't know. Feline eyes evolved to detect motion before shape. A hunter doesn't need to see every detail of its prey. It just needs to see that something moved. That's the exact same system your cat uses on you, all the time. That's why when you raise your arm, your cat already knows, before you even finish the gesture, whether you're heading toward the food cabinet or just stretching to scratch your head. It doesn't know this from your face. It knows from the trajectory and speed of the movement, something it has learned to read from you with startling precision. Here's something few owners know. Cats have an enormous peripheral field of vision, close to 200 degrees, far wider than ours. That means even when it's not looking directly at you, it's probably watching you out of the corner of its eye while pretending to focus on something else. That distracted cat that ignores you when you call it actually has you perfectly located in its field of view. If you didn't know any of this about your cat, we're just getting started, because what's coming up next explains why cats act like they have superpowers at night. Before we move on, I want to ask you a quick favor. If you're enjoying this channel, hit subscribe now. That way you won't miss the next videos where we keep uncovering the secret world of the animals who live with us. Why your cat can see you in total darkness? This has probably happened to you. You get up at midnight for a glass of water, feel your way down the hallway, trip over something, and suddenly see two bright dots staring at you from the couch. Your cat has been sitting there for a while, calmly watching you as you bump into furniture like you're stuck in a maze. The reason has a name, the tapetum lucidum. It's a layer of reflective tissue behind a cat's retina that acts like an internal mirror. When light enters the eye, instead of being lost, it bounces back and passes through the light-sensitive cells a second time, essentially doubling the amount of light the cat can use. This is the same mechanism, by the way, that makes your cat's eyes glow when a flashlight or camera flash hits them. It's not some strange effect, it's their night vision system working in real time. Thanks to this, a cat can see clearly in lighting conditions that are, for us, practically total darkness. It only needs a fraction of the light you do. Moonlight slipping through a window, the faint glow of a charging cable, or street light from outside is more than enough for your house, at night, to become a perfectly visible space for your cat. This completely changes what's happening in your house while you sleep. While you're unconscious, your cat could be watching every single one of your movements. How you roll over, how you breathe, how your chest rises and falls. Many owners say they sense a presence right before waking up, and when they open their eyes, they find their cat sitting inches from their face, staring at them. It's not a coincidence or some mysterious instinct. It's literally been watching you for a while, because to your cat, that's completely normal. Now here's something interesting that almost nobody mentions. Cats see incredibly well in low light, but they can't see anything in absolute, total darkness with zero light sources. No animal can do that, not even a cat. What they have is an ability to make use of minimal light that seems almost miraculous compared to ours. And there's another key piece to all of this, the pupils. You've probably noticed that a cat's pupils can go from a razor-thin, almost invisible slit to two huge black circles in a matter of seconds. That change doesn't just regulate how much light gets in, it also lets your cat move from a brightly lit space to a completely dark one without going blind from the shift, something that takes us several uncomfortable seconds to adjust to. So the next time you wake up at 3 a.m. and feel that fixed stare on you in the dark, now you know, it's not your imagination. It was literally watching you as if it were broad daylight. But what's coming up next is even more interesting, because I'm going to explain how your cat manages to recognize you instantly, even without seeing your face clearly. Your cat doesn't recognize your face. It recognizes something else. Here's a fact that surprises most people. Cats don't process faces the way we humans do. We're experts at reading faces. We pick up on micro-expressions. We recognize someone in a crowd of thousands. We notice if someone's sad just by looking at them for 2 seconds. Cats don't work that way. For them, your face isn't the main element that helps them identify you. What they actually rely on is a combination of your general shape, the way you move, your smell, and your voice. That's why if you put on a new hat, sunglasses, or even if a family member with a similar build walks into the house moving in a similar way to you, your cat might get confused for a few seconds. Something that would never happen to a dog trained to recognize faces, or to another human. That said, there is one very specific gesture where a kind of feline facial language does come into play, and it's probably the most important one that exists between you and your cat: the slow blink. When two unfamiliar cats cross paths and hold a fixed, unblinking stare, in the feline world, that's the equivalent of a direct threat. It's a way of saying, I'm sizing you up as a possible rival. That's why, when your cat looks at you and instead of holding a rigid stare, slowly closes its eyes and opens them again, it's sending you the exact opposite message. I'm no threat to you. I trust you. I'm relaxed. Many animal behavior specialists call this gesture the cat kiss, and it works both ways. If you return that same slow, gentle blink to your cat, looking it in the eyes and closing your eyelids slowly, there's a good chance it'll blink back at you. It's literally one of the few moments where you can have a silent, direct conversation with your pet. Not every cat does this right away. Some cats take months, even years, to feel comfortable enough to offer you that gesture. So if your cat already gives you the slow blink, take it as a clear sign that you hold a special place in its world, because it doesn't hand out that privilege to just anyone. Now, sight is only part of the equation. There are 2 other senses that probably tell your cat far more about you than you'd imagine, and one of them almost nobody talks about. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit the like button. It helps this content reach more people who also want to understand their animals better. What your voice and your smell tell your cat? Let's start with hearing. Cats can pick up a much wider range of frequencies than we can, even wider than dogs. They can detect extremely high-pitched, almost ultrasonic sounds that are completely imperceptible to us. That's why they react instantly to the distant sound of a food bag opening, or the specific click of a can lid, long before you even notice it. But the most interesting part isn't what they hear, it's how they interpret your voice specifically. Animal behavior studies have shown that cats perfectly distinguish their owner's voice from that of several strangers, even if they don't react as visibly as a dog would. Over time, your cat learns to associate your tone of voice with specific situations. A high, cheerful tone might mean food or playtime is coming. A low, tense tone can put it on alert, and a soft, calm tone tends to relax it completely. In fact, your cat doesn't understand the words you say the way we understand them. What it recognizes is the pattern, the rhythm, the melody of how you speak. That's why, if you always call your cat's name in the same affectionate tone, and one day someone else says it exactly the same way, or you say it in a different tone than usual, your cat might not even react, because to it, that sound no longer matches the pattern it recognizes as belonging to you. Now let's move to the sense that, for a cat, is probably the most important one of all, and the one that gets talked about the least: smell. Cats have, in addition to a regular nose, a special organ called the vomeronasal organ, located in the roof of the mouth. When you see your cat slightly open its mouth and hold a strange expression, almost like disgust or intense concentration, That's called the Fleeman response, and it means it's analyzing a scent in far more detail than its regular nose alone would allow. To your cat, your scent is essentially your identity. Every surface you touch, every piece of clothing you wear, gets soaked in your particular scent, one that's completely undetectable to you, but as clear as a signature to your cat. That's why it loves lying on your recently worn clothes or climbing into your shoes. It's surrounded by your scent there, and that makes it feel safe. And here's something even more fascinating. Your cat can also detect changes in your own body through smell. When you're stressed, anxious, or sick, your body chemistry shifts slightly, releasing different compounds through your sweat and skin. Many cats come closer specifically in those moments, not because they understand you're sad in a human sense, but because they sense that something changed in your usual scent, and that sparks their curiosity or even drives them to stay close to you. This also explains why your cat rubs against your legs, your hands, or your face. It's not just to ask for affection or food. It has scent glands on its cheeks, forehead, and the sides of its body, and by rubbing against you, it's literally marking you with its own scent. In feline language, this is the equivalent of saying, "You're part of my territory, you're one of mine." With all of this in mind, understanding how your cat sees you, hears you, and smells you, we arrive at the most important question of the whole video. Does your cat know you're human? After thousands of years of domestication, dogs developed a way of relating to us where they clearly see us as a separate figure, almost like the leaders of their pack. Cats took a completely different path. They were domesticated much more recently and much more independently, and that's why they still show behaviors that suggest something surprising. In many ways, your cat treats you exactly the way it would treat another cat. Think about it with concrete examples. When it rubs against you as you walk in, that's the same greeting it would give another cat it trusts. When it kneads your leg or your stomach with its little paws, it's repeating an instinctive behavior from when it was a kitten kneading its mother to stimulate milk flow. When it brings you a dead bug or, if you're unlucky, a mouse, it's not thinking, "My human can't hunt, so I'll bring them food." It's simply acting on an instinct to share prey with members of its group, exactly the way it would with another cat. Even when it ignores you after you've done something it didn't like, taken it to the vet, trimmed its nails, given it a bath, it's applying the same distancing and avoidance behavior it would use with another cat it's upset with. It's not resentment in the human sense. It's simply its natural way of processing conflict. What's interesting is that even though it treats you like another cat, it doesn't miss the fact that you behave differently. Your cat knows perfectly well that you walk differently, that you communicate with different sounds, that you have particular routines like sitting in front of a screen for hours. It adapts to all of that without trying to correct you or expect you to act like a cat. In its world, you're simply a different kind of cat. One without fur, one that's terrible at hunting, but always manages to get food from some mysterious place, and one that provides warmth and safety like no other. And that perception keeps shifting depending on the time of day. When you're serving food, it sees you as a provider. When you're asleep, breathing slowly, it sees you as a warm, safe source of rest. When you come home after hours away, it sees you as an awaited member of its group who has finally returned to the territory. You're not just one fixed thing to your cat, you're several depending on the context, but in all of them, you hold a central place that nothing and no one else in the house can replace. So the next time your cat stares at you from across the room, now you know what's really happening. It's not studying the details of your face, it's reading your movement, recognizing your scent, listening to the pattern of your voice, and processing all of it as information about someone who belongs to its group. Someone trustworthy, someone safe. Now it's your turn. Does your cat give you the slow blink? Does it rub against you the moment you walk in the door? Tell me in the comments how your cat sees you. I'd love to read your stories. And if you enjoyed learning all of this, subscribe to the channel because every week we explore another mystery of animal behavior you probably didn't know about.